Hi, I would like to ask you a question. How do you discern your value? What makes you valuable as a Christian? What do you think? Do you think that your works make you valuable because you do more? Maybe you read the Bible more, pray more, or fast more, give more, do something more. Or maybe you see your value because you don't do enough, and that's why you are not really good enough. Maybe you see your value according to your thoughts, according to your understanding. How do you see yourself? Maybe you have made mistakes. Maybe you see your value, you look at the past and you see how valuable you are now. Maybe you hear other people speaking about you, and that's how you discern your value. Whatever other people say, that's who I am. That's how valuable I am. We need to know as Christians where we actually find our value. Why I'm saying this? It's interesting because today I was going through LinkedIn because I quit my job just before New Year. I felt like it's a time. God gave me faith to make this step, and I quit my job and I start to look for a new job. Now, when I go to jobs, and I see descriptions and everything, and I see people who applied for the same job, I saw that absolutely majority of them, they're more qualified than me. And when I saw them and they have more experience than me, and I thought, who would hire me if they are more qualified? They will get the job. There's no point even for me to apply for that position. You see, once I said this, in my mind, I thought, but wait a second. What actually makes me valuable? Is it when I look to other people, they have better degrees, they have better experience, they work longer, they know more probably than me? Does that makes me more valuable or less valuable? No, something is not right here. I just realized that I was about to go into despair. I was like, just close the app and my goodness, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find another job. But through this search, I just realized that my value is not there. I'm not less or more valuable because they have more experience or better degrees. I have to find my value somewhere else. And the Bible is teaching us where we should find our value. The beautiful Psalm 139 that David wrote, it speaks to us where we should find our value. And look, Psalm 139 and verse 14, look what it says. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. When I read this verse, I read through all the Psalm, and I was thinking about other verses, but particularly this verse really caught my attention. Because it says, David is looking at the Creator, and he says, I am wonderfully and fearfully made. You see, David was not looking at himself or his failures, his abilities or inabilities. He was looking at the Creator, and he says, wow, God, you are so amazing. You have so many abilities. You are infinite. You're so big. You're so creative. And you made me. I look around, I see how you created things, how you created nature, animals, and you made me. I must be something. You have not made a mistake. You cannot make mistakes. So when you made me, when you created me, he speaks about this in the same psalm. He says, you have knitted me very carefully in my mother's womb. So he says, you have made me. And when you start to think not about yourself, when you look at your value, you don't look at yourself or around you. You look at Creator and who created you. And I just imagined, because when you read those two words, fearfully and wonderfully, it's very interesting that I looked at Hebrew, and fearfully in Hebrew as well means reverently. Do you look at yourself reverently? Because God, when He made you, He just went back and He's looking at you and He's like, wow, I made this. What a beauty. Do you see yourself as God sees you? I always remember Zephaniah 3:17, where it says that God is looking at you with love and He is singing joyfully over you with gladness. Do you see yourself like that? Do you see how valuable you are in His eyes? Because He is the one who made you perfectly. Now, why we are not perfect in this world? Because we were made in the image of God, but we were shaped by the devil. And that's the problem, because we learn to live on lies. And God now, it takes time, for God to change us, to show us who we are. It takes time. It's a journey. It's not one time, just boom, and that's it. You're perfect. That's not how it works. God made you in His image, but because from birth until you came to Christ, you were living and feeding on lies. You learned to live in a wrong way. You learned to think in a wrong way. But you were made in the image of God. So all what God has to do, He says, you're born again, your past is gone, now let's learn who you really are, created in my image. So God is from birth, from new birth, He starts to recreate you. He starts to show to you what is the truth, and He starts to remove the lies of the enemy, and you start to see who you really are. But you are made in His image. You are perfect. But only lies stops you from knowing the truth. So my point is, that we need to look at the Creator and find value in Him. When you look at Him, who made you, what thoughts come into your mind? Do you start to see really yourself, as Paul says in Ephesians 2:10, that we are His workmanship, which in Greek language, workmanship is poema, masterpiece. Do you see yourself as God's masterpiece? Well, you can't see yourself as God's masterpiece if you look at yourself now, who you are, where you are. But when you look at God in the way He made you, everything will change. You start to see in a different way, and you will find value in God. And that's so important. So important. So it will take time for God to change your perspective. It's true. It's a journey. It's not one day event. But look to Him. Start to look to the Lord and start to receive the truth from Him, who you really are. I'm gonna tell you something where this journey started. This is just one thing, and I'm gonna finish. But how this journey started in my life, to know who I am really, and to know who really God is. We need to know ourselves. We need to know Him as well. But one day, that was last year, I asked God those two questions. God, show me the lies that I believe about you, and what is the truth? Show me the lies, what I believe about myself, and what is the truth. From that moment, my season has changed. God started to show many things that I believe about Him or about myself, but that's not true. And He started to show me the truth. I started to experience so much liberty, so much freedom, so much joy and peace, more than before. It's just amazing. So I would really encourage you to honestly ask God those questions and see what He's gonna do. God bless, guys.